You know, she's a baddie, but she lets me hit because I'm slightly off-putting, and I got Smurf lore.
Oh my god. That is 110% the best scene in this movie.
Hi, welcome to the Swamp. It's our podcast where I think we've got Smurf lore on here, or the equivalent of what Smurf lore encapsulates as a vibe, a thought, an idea.
Yes.
That scene in Donnie Darko, I think, is what our podcast is really all about.
Mhm.
We're called the Swamp, and it's an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting. And this month, it's Dara December.
Oh my god, thank you. I am so honored. I'd like to thank God, my parents, the Academy. I'd mostly like to thank Jen for giving birth to me in this month, and mostly we let you pick all the movies in April. Emily April, and so now by default it is Dara December. I'm the fucking captain now, bitch. I get to pick all the movies this month, and I'm starting off. This is sort of an homage to my birthday twin, Jake Gyllenhaal. Him and I were born not in the same year.
No.
That would put me very much older than I presently am, but we both were born on December 19th.
Mm-hmm.
Weirdly, he has self-identified as a Capricorn in interviews, and I'm sorry, sir, that's factually untrue. We are Sagittariuses, so I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Who told him
but
that?
I've been planning our joint birthday party for quite some time now, so Mr. Jake, if you'd like to, I'm sure he's a piece of shit. Like, I know after the whole Taylor Swift thing, everyone like really was against him. And I sort of am of the mindset of like, if you're that famous, there's no way you're a good person, like regardless.
Yeah, I would.
But that being said, I would still like to have a joint birthday party with Mr. Jake G.
I would much rather if you had Maggie Gyllenhaal there.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's probably a lot cooler.
That's probably the truth, because she's also like not a man, so
yeah.
That knocks down a few pegs of just inherent, if you're like a white straight man in a position of a lot of power, like you got to fight against that to not be a piece of shit,
Mm-hmm. You know who's done a really good job of that?
Who?
Robert Pattinson, just by being so weird.
True. Mm-hmm. Which Jake Gyllenhaal, I would say, has the same sort of edge of like strange boy like aura about him in interviews that you're like, what the fuck are you saying? But it doesn't come off nearly as charismatic. Like,
exactly.
If we're doing like D&D stats, like Jake Gyllenhaal sitting at a neutral 0, but Robert Pattinson has like a +2 in his charisma. So it's like him being off-putting is like kind of endearing. Whereas when Jake Gyllenhaal does it, you're just kind of like, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But to me, he was always sort of...
It's the millennial aura, I think, is a lot stronger with him.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. He was one of my like bigger celebrity crushes just because I thought he like distinguished himself from the like he's a very generically attractive man. He's like really just conventionally very hot and
for sure.
Kind of in a conventional way. But he sort of separated himself to me from like the Chris's, if you will, the horde of hot Chris's who just sort of seem to be in the limelight, who are like hot and charismatic, but in a way that's so plain and dry. Whereas I always felt like Jake Gyllenhaal had like a little bit of like weird boy swag to him. But these days, would I put him in my like top 5, all-time celeb people I would like to deeply embrace? Like, no.
Do you think
that is not the case?
Do you think that this movie had a big impact on him sort of being seen as the weird boy or having that weird boy aura?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. He also like just in interviews and stuff, he just said like he does not say the thing you think. He's sort of like socially unaware in a way that is kind of like what the fuck is going through your head?
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, I do think, and I think that this movie had a big part of my like attraction and liking of him, because I watched this movie probably for the first time when I was 13 or 14.
I was gonna ask because I kind of figured that it was gonna be one of those movies that fell into that list of movies on Tumblr that was like, here's all the movies you need to watch if you really like movies.
Yep.
And this certainly seems like one that you would watch at a very early age, and that would have a distinct what's the right word?
Like an impact on my
yes,
taste.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely one of those, like, I had seen, like, GIFs on Tumblr, like, of the creepy bunny, and it was very much, like, intriguing, like, what's that all about? And to me, this is, for this month, this movie's not only an homage to Mr. Jake G, my birthday twin, but also sort of checking the box of one of my kind of favorite movies to talk about, which is that movie that, like, really grabbed me in middle school, or, like, my early teen years, and has sort of like persisted throughout my life. You know, my life, I say, as if like, you know, more than 10 years have passed. But in the past decade that I still really love it, because there's a lot of stuff I liked in middle school that I can look back and be like, that is garbage. Like, absolutely not. But like my experience with it certainly has evolved and changed over the years. But it's one of those that I think was like very fundamental in the foundation of like my love of movies and talking about movies. I think movies that sort of stirred like an online discourse or something were really big for me being like, oh, I like to watch something with the intent of like discussing it after, which is sort of, you know, now we have a movie podcast. Of course, that's something I like to do. But this movie in particular is one of those that like you watch it when you're 14, right? And then afterwards you're like, whoa, that was crazy. That was mind-bending. And then you go and you Google Donnie Darko ending explained, right? Like, of course, because it's, you need a little bit more. Like, I think as an adult, like this watch around, I got a lot of, like at surface level, I don't think this movie is trying to confuse or trick you. I think you do get a solid ending that explains itself and that you do not need further context to understand what the movie's about. But then there's like another layer where then if you go to DonnieDarko.org and you read that fucking 9-page philosophical thing and you know, read it and you understand where they've got like acronyms for all like what the parallel universes are and at what points and what it's jumping between the two. And then you're like, oh, and then you're 14. So then you go back and you watch the movie again, right? It's 2 a.m. on a school night and you're like, I need to, you know, you watch it, you read the article and then you watch it again is sort of was my experience with it.
I don't know if it's worth giving like a total recap of the movie or not. We can if you feel inclined, but I have never done the real deep dive on all of the philosophical shit. I would love it if you could fill it in a little bit for me and for anyone that's watching or listening.
And so like your history is that you said that you only watched this for the first time like earlier this year, right?
Yeah, so this was my second watch of it. It was fine. It's a fine, I think it's just a fine movie. It doesn't really entertain me. It almost comes off as a nothing movie to me, which isn't the case, but it has enough of the vibe of a nothing movie that it kind of conveys that more than anything, I guess, to me. But
and you're just like kicking me in the nuts over and over and over as you're speaking right now. Like, Jesus Christ, just kick me while I'm down.
It just, the thing that pulls me in is all of the jump scares in this movie. Seth Rogen, Patrick Swayze, Drew Barrymore. There's probably more. Jenna Malone. But other than that, it's like, and I enjoyed Donnie's character and his outbursts and kind of his staunch stance against establishment and just fakeness. And I enjoy it, but it just doesn't keep me, I guess, entertained enough. So,
can I ask you a question? I'm assuming that you watched the theatrical cut.
I did.
Okay, yeah, that's like to be expected. But like the director's cut is made like pretty widely available as well. I would say you don't get too much extra out of it, but there are some of those, like if you're going to be that person who gets into the nitty-gritty details to get into that like further like higher cerebral layer of understanding, the director's cut has like you know, scenes where they go through the book that he has, the philosophy of time travel, where they're going through the book and they're sort of, you get like little tidbits of like information that sort of make sense. But to me, you know, in order to, let's say, reach level 2, like level 1 is you watch the movie and you understand the basic premise of the ending. And then like level 2 is that you like get some of that terminology to pick apart, which is like, I don't even remember what they call it, because I honestly don't give it too much credit. I don't think you should need to do homework to understand a movie. Like, I should just I either get it or I don't.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? But it's like, you know, the parallel universe and the artifact has to go to the transient universe and yada, yada, yada. Like, some of that sort of gets revealed in the director's cut with the book scene a little bit, I would say. But I don't know. There's new the sound is also a big thing, that they do all these sort of like peripheral sounds so that you sort of get the sense that he's not in the correct dimension, you know, in the director's cut. But if you want me to get into it a little bit, the most basic, if you haven't seen this movie, I just cannot in good conscience tell you to listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
Like, it's I'm not gonna say this movie's confusing, but it's doing a lot. It's Jake Gyllenhaal as Donnie Darko, and he basically is categorized by his parents and his therapist as like a paranoid schizophrenic, which opens another floodgate of like something I do not like in movies, which is like using mental illness as a catalyst for like horror or psychological thriller, like that sort of thing. Like that movie Split always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I just don't like using like an actual condition as like the jumping off point for something that's like kooky, crazy, wacky, and creepy. Like, no,
it's let's fucked up.
Be more creative than that. But I'm gonna say I'll give this movie like half of a pass, because it's not that he is a paranoid schizophrenic, it's that that's how they are interpreting these things that are actually happening to him. Like, I guess your reading of the movie could just be that it was like all in his head or whatever, but I just don't think that that's correct. But, you know, he's seeing this, you know, person or this character, and they're all like, oh, well, obviously you're, you know, mentally ill. Whereas it's like, this is this contained experience that he's like genuinely having. But yeah, that always sort of just like, when they're like, he's a schizophrenic and now we're going to tell his story, I'm always like, no, you're not. Like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
If you actually wanted to make a movie about somebody like with mental illness, it wouldn't be under the pretense of like, something wild is about to happen. Like, shut the fuck up. But Donnie sees this bunny rabbit named Frank, and Frank is basically coercing Donnie to do these acts of violence. He floods his school, he burns down a house, all these things, and it's sort of under this pretense that the world is ending, that it's sort of up to Donnie to figure out like what his place is in all of this and why he's been given this information, and is he supposed to stop it? Is he supposed to, you know, just sit back and take it? And he feels really like powerless in his ability to decide what to do, because he doesn't really know where he stands. And eventually the movie sort of ends with him realizing that he's sort of the catalyst for this all to be happening, and that he is stuck in this time loop where he then can go back and basically save the world. It's that he's in a parallel dimension, and that if the parallel dimension, you know, crumbles and folds, then the real world does as well. So he has to get this quote unquote artifact back to the real, you know, world, where he then has to sacrifice himself in the alternate dimension, essentially. And, you know, the thing that I like about this movie is that all of that sounds really like heavy and messy and complicated. And it's like under the guise of like this quirky kid in almost like a John Hughes movie. Like, he is, you know, being awkward and trying to ask out a girl for the first time, or he's talking about the etiquettes of Smurf orgies. Like, just, it's those parts of this movie that fucking crack me up. That they put this really like dense, complicated, philosophical, physics concepts of time travel, right? Condensed physiological concepts within this like late 80s suburban environment of all these like stupid characters. Like, some of the dialogue in this movie has me fucking cracking the fuck up.
Yeah, please.
Patrick Swayze as a motivational speaker who turns out to be a child porn ring leader. Like, oh my god. Who thought of that? I am dead.
It is pretty brilliant. I love Drew Barrymore's character in this. She is not very substantial, but I love the line where Jenna Malone shows up and it's the first day, like, she's new, it's her first day of classes, and she just does the most out-of-pocket shit and looks at her and says, well, pick the most handsome boy to sit next to.
Sit next to the boy you think is cutest.
Yeah.
And then everyone stares at her. And I love that because that's some fucking shit that maybe not to that extent, but we all knew the English teacher who was like picking who was going to read for Romeo and Juliet because she thought they'd be a cute couple.
Right.
You're like, why are you making me be Friar Lawrence? Why won't you let me read Romeo and Juliet with a cute boy?
Right.
What the heck?
Not Friar Lawrence.
I was always made to be Friar Lawrence.
Yeah. It's all the quirky ones.
I brought the comedy.
And also,
Holstaff? What is it in Henry IV?
Yeah.
Falstaff. I was always fucking Falstaff.
Yeah. It also reminds me of those English teachers, which it's popped up more on TikTok and I've kind of recognized it more. Those teachers that would like flirt with the popular boys. Yeah, it's very, she's not giving it so much, but the idea of just what you're talking about and pairing people up like that is triggering.
I was the victim of an English teacher coerced relationship. I trusted this woman and she brought me to the ground.
Oh my god.
But
I know exactly what you're talking about too. Like,
yeah. Then she's like, don't worry, you can't be Juliet because the boy I think for you is in a different, he's much older. So you can be Friar Lawrence. Don't worry about it, Dara. I have bigger plans for you. Thanks, Susan.
Yeah,
no, shouts out Susan. I ate lunch in her classroom every day of high school because I didn't have a lot of friends. So
I'm gonna call you a slur.
But so if we want to sort of get into my like surface level explanation in which I think this is what you get from the ending if you are a person with a comprehensive brain, right? That you, at the end of the movie, he is at the mountain where the movie began. So you're sort of getting the sense that it's a time loop, Groundhog Day kind of situation. Why did I say Groundhog Day as if time loop did not fully encapsulate what I was trying to say?
You just gotta get as many movie references in as you can. So,
but essentially, at the beginning of the movie, he was sleepwalking following Frank, the, alternate dimension bunny rabbit, and a plane jet engine crashed into his house and crushed his bedroom. And so he is basically like, Frank saved my life because I wasn't in the house when this happened. And therefore, that's why he kind of does everything Frank says, because he feels like he owes this like existential debt to him because that's the reason he wasn't in the house. And so at the end, we see the plane that his mom and his sister are on flying into this, it looks like a tornado, but it's basically a black hole, like a portal opening. And so we realize that the plane that they're on is about to go into the portal. The jet engine is going to break off. And that is sort of what in the loop falls into his house. Right. And so we get the time travel sense. And then the movie makes it very apparent to us. It does the calendar back. It rewinds through the entire plot of the entire film. And then we get Jake Gyllenhaal in that beginning scene consciously staying in his bedroom so that he will get crushed, so that he will die, so that this time loop basically ends. And, level one, I think is like, oh, he's getting himself out of being in this time loop of being coerced by this other dimensional being to do these acts of violence and to do these things. So basically he's like, knowingly, if I stay, I'll get crushed and I'll die, and that'll free me from it, basically. Yeah. But then there's also sort of the explanation that he is this like savior, Christ-like superhuman figure where in him sacrificing himself in this universe, he's then saving the real one because he needs to die in the real universe for the fake universe, or like the alternate parallel universe, to collapse in on itself.
Mm-hmm.
You could get basically all of that from watching it, I think. Mostly just the ending of the time loop sort of deal. Right? And then I think once you start reading a little bit more into it, it's that you get that he has to save this primary universe through self-sacrifice. And like going into the wormhole created the duplicate universe. So basically, as soon as he starts seeing Frank, as soon as that first instance of when he's sleepwalking, when he sees Frank, when the artifact, quote unquote, is what they call it in all the articles. The artifact is the jet engine.
Mm-hmm.
Once that transcends through the wormhole, that's when the parallel universe gets created.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, like, the structure of saving the world is to return the like lost object, the artifact, the jet engine, back through the wormhole to the original universe, and therefore he has to die, right?
Yes.
And so, like, him being, like, a chosen one or savior is why he can see Frank, who he shoots, who is dead. So Frank is either, like, a ghost or, like, a parallel dimensional being. I don't really understand this, but we see in the scene where Jenna Malone gets hit by the car, the clown and Frank... he's, like, shaking her as if she's about to get up, as if she didn't just bounce around.
Baby, she is gone. She is unresponsive. There's not a breath of air in those lungs.
But that is also used as a reason for Frank to sort of coerce him into doing this self-sacrifice, because he knows if he goes back and changes it, that she doesn't die.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's all about the characters, whether they know it or not, or whether they're being controlled by this greater being, this force that's driving them to do certain things, pushing Donnie towards that final end goal, right? Every little thing that happens is sort of getting him closer there, right? Like, if she hadn't been hit by the car, would he have been so inclined to turn back time? If, you know, if his mom and sister weren't on that plane, you know, things like that. But it also isn't really ever explained, like, why he's this, like, chosen one or savior, or why he's been given this ability. I don't think it needs to be. I think the more it tries to explain the, like, metaphysical side of, like, the philosophy of what's happening, the worse this movie gets to me. Because I just like to watch it, and I just think it's a fun movie to just watch.
Yeah,
you don't need to think too much about it. I think the people who are thinking too hard about it don't get it. The point is that it's like a sci-fi movie. You don't need to understand the actual logistical physics behind wormhole time travel.
I think that's where this movie loses me a bit, like, with... And I guess that's, again, I think it's also kind of the... I suffer a little bit from not wanting to like the things that are popular with men.
This is one of my male manipulator movies.
Yeah.
I think if a man told me this is one of his favorite movies, I would be like, that's kind of a red flag.
Yeah.
Yet I'm like, this is one of my favorite movies.
Well, it's okay for the girls to like it. But
I just like it because I just like the dialogue. I think the way they all talk to each other in this movie is so funny. The opening scene of them at the dinner table, where him and Maggie love that they cast, said, like, explain to me, how exactly does one suck a fuck?
Yep.
Like, give me more of that. That's what I want.
Yeah, I do agree with you there. I do love that scene also. I think this movie suffered from not enough Maggie Gyllenhaal, but that's just my bias.
Of course.
I loved that Seth Rogen was in this movie.
It was his film debut. He had never been in a movie before. I love that this is the first time Seth Rogen ever was on the cinematic big screen, and the first line of dialogue we hear from him is, I like your boobs. Slay.
Yeah,
But speaking of jump scares, this movie, so we start off Patrick Swayze.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yep.
I think Drew Barrymore is a little bit of a jump scare, because I feel like I always kind of forget that she's in this. But then we get into Jenna Malone, who I definitely did not piece together, like, that she's Joanna Mason for like a long time in my life. You know, like she in this movie and she in Catching Fire like lived in two completely separate idea spaces to me.
That makes sense.
I think she just looks so young in this too.
Well, yeah,
like,
she was.
But to me, the ultimate fucking jump scares were in the auditorium scene. Ashley Tisdale gets up there on that mic and says, "I think my sister is eating too much." Brown-haired Ashley Tisdale
Didn't even
is the
clock
first
it.
is the first girl on the mic. And then the second kid on the mic is fucking Jerry Trainer, Spencer Shea from iCarly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What the fuck? What kind
Crazy.
of sauce did this movie have that they were just getting the teeny bopper stars before their time? And then Seth Rogen, obviously. Like, what
year was this movie again?
2001. And I will tell you that a reason why this had such a poor theatrical release, it's now considered like a cult classic.
The Plane.
But it had such a poor theatrical release. This movie came out in theaters October 26th of 2001.
Oh.
A month and a half.
Yeah, that'll do it.
After 9/11.
That'll do it. I like that they didn't go back and try to change it, though. You know what I mean?
No, how could they? The plane crashing is like the most important part of the whole fucking movie. Like, they could not.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. I'm glad it's got its time to shine now, though, because it is a valid movie, and I would recommend it to a certain. It's just not, it doesn't rub me the way that it rubs you, and that's okay.
And that's fine. Yeah. You weren't up at like 2 a.m. reading the article when you were 14, being like, my mind is fucking blown. I understand quantum physics now. Like, I fully understand. Every philosopher who's ever spoken, I get it. I get it now.
Yeah, that's...
Because this movie, it does deal with a lot of themes about, like, determinism and free will. And, like, overtly so. Like, they literally name drop, like, philosophers and theories, basically, in this movie. And he's basically like, do humans have free will? I sure do wonder. What if we could see our future? Would we then carry out the future that we saw? And they, like, have that discussion that's just so, like, philosophy 101, basically. But as a young person, you're like, oh my god, my fucking brain is melting, bro.
I think that if you watched this when you were like 15 years old, it makes sense why you're gonna have an attachment to it.
It makes sense why I have a superiority complex.
Also that. Yeah. I
saw this in Pulp Fiction and I was like, I'm better than everyone. Yeah. I'm like in my 8th grade like English class being forced to like read about fucking the Revolutionary War, and it was like, this is so beneath me. I've seen Donnie Darko. Hey, what's up? Hello, it's Jen. She's my biological mother. And in the other ways that someone can be a mother, but she's also the host of this interim podcast segment. Chocolate or vanilla, she's going to say 2 things. We're all going to say which one we like better. Jen, how are you today?
I am pretty good. How are you guys?
Not too shabby.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm getting back into the swing of things.
Nice. So, because of Donnie Darko has same letter, first name, last name, these are all things with same letter, first name, last name.
Yeah, I love that. Fanny Dooley.
No, those are just double letters.
Double letters. I know. We definitely have we've discussed this before in the past, but there used to be this segment on PBS Kids, right? Called Fanny Dooley, and it was like a riddle for kids, and it was basically just that Fanny Dooley only likes things like she likes lollipops, but she doesn't like gummy bears. Or wait, she would like gummy bears. She doesn't like chocolate or whatever. And as a child, you're like, that's crazy. Anyways, or this is more like Green Glass Door.
I was just about to say. Yeah.
That's another letter-based riddle.
What is Green Glass Door?
It's just like a riddle puzzle thing where you say to somebody, like, what can you bring through the green glass door? And it like has
there's
to have
a floor
repeating
through the
letters.
green glass door, and there's walls through the green glass door, but there's no ceilings, and there's no couches.
I like it.
Shit. Yeah,
I like a good word game. All right, chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
I'm actually gonna go chocolate today.
Woo! Chocolate for the
Very
sweep.
rarely.
Wow, I think it happens very not ever aside from today.
Madness.
There's been like a
Insanity.
couple of times, but since I've stopped drinking, I've realized that my body craves sugar in different ways now, and so I've just been craving chocolate for the last like month and a half.
Nice.
So your true self is revealing.
Yeah, exactly.
The truth is coming out.
I'm evolving. Thank you.
All right, and then chocolate vanilla or strawberry?
I'm wearing a fruit sweater today for all of our lovely Patreon subscribers who get to know what our faces look like. I'm wearing a sweater. It has all fruits, but also like jalapenos.
Love that.
So it's like watermelon, banana, cherry, jalapeno. Like, sure.
Brilliant.
But I'll say strawberry because I'm in a fruity mood today.
I'll also say strawberry.
You know what? Let's give it a strawberry sweep then.
Wow.
Chocolate sweep and strawberry sweep. First one, Tina Turner or Joan Jett?
Ooh, Miss Tina.
Really? She is an icon, but I'm gonna go for the lesbian icon on this one and pick Joan Jett.
I'm gonna go Joan Jett also. Next one, Philip Pullman, who wrote Golden Compass, or Rick Riordan, who wrote Percy Jackson?
Oh, I love me some Rick Riordan. I don't think I ever read the Golden Compass books, but I remember like the movie coming out and it like you had like an animal friend that followed you around and that really intrigued me. But I remember the movie being like actually kind of bad. But I'm really excited about the new Percy Jackson TV show. I was a big Percy Jackson girly, and a bunch of my friends are having this like Greek mythology hyperfixation revival. Like everyone's like, I have a friend who's rereading. He's fully 25 and he's rereading all the Percy Jackson books like in preparation for this TV show. So we're in the mood. We're thinking about the Roman Empire every day.
I feel like I should know more about Greek mythology. I don't know a whole lot. Like I know a handful of gods and like what their whole shtick is, but I'm not well versed in it. And I really like to be. So if anyone has any suggestions on like documentaries or series or something, anything to watch or read, please let me know. But I did read Percy Jackson as a kid. I don't know anything about the Golden Compass, but I know I love the Percy Jackson books for a while. So I will go with Rick Riordan.
Same. We were a Percy Jackson family, so Rick Riordan for the sweep. Next one, Beach Boys or Herman's Hermits?
Oh.
Who are Herman's Hermits?
No. You got to put some respect on Herman's Hermits.
Ooh.
I'm Henry VIII. I am Henry VIII. I am.
Okay, is anything else, or is this a one hit?
I think they are considered a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, but that slaps.
I suppose I'm gonna give it to the Beach Boys because they have more than one notable song.
I will also have to go for the Beach Boys, but I just want everyone to know that Herman's Hermits does have my respect and admiration.
All right, I'm going to quick Google it because I feel like they have another song.
There's at least one more that stands out to me, but I can't think of it. So maybe it doesn't stand out. But...
no. There's one, I'm Into Something Good. I think that one.
Oh, yeah. I'm into something good. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's about it. I'll go with the Beach Boys also.
It's the right answer.
Steven Spielberg or Christopher Columbus? Chris Columbus, the director. Yeah. Director versus director.
What, off the top of my head, the only thing I know Chris Columbus did is the first Harry Potter movie.
Yes, that is correct.
What else? He did something else that we covered on this podcast, and I was like, weird fun fact. And it was like something very unexpected.
It wasn't one of the Bond movies, was it?
No, maybe, I don't know. But obviously I'm gonna go for Steven Spielberg.
First Harry Potter.
Percy Jackson.
Second Harry Potter. No? Yeah, he mostly just produces shit.
Yeah. Rent the movie.
He's just like, is he just a producer?
Oh, Mrs. Doubtfire, Dara. He did Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, that's what it was.
Did he write it?
He directed it.
Director. Yeah.
He produces a lot, but Percy Jackson, the Lightning Thief. He did that one. I don't know. What were my other options? Steven Spielberg?
Spielberg.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go for Steven Spielberg on this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think too many directors can
If I have to
compete
look up
with Steven Spielberg.
Spielberg is, I think, next on my list of I want to like start working through directors' like bodies of works. And I'm almost done with Christopher Nolan. I am like 1 or 2 movies away. So I think after that, I definitely want to get started because there's a ton of Spielbergs that I've never seen that I think are like really important to like the history of filmmaking just in general.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, King Kong or Lex Luthor?
King Kong, I do not know what this is from, but everyone on Twitter is posting a picture from some movie that's coming out of baby King Kong. And it just, I don't know why they made him look like that. I
watched the trailer for what you're talking about. It's like another Kong and Godzilla movie. I think they team up or some shit. But now there's a lot of big monkeys, so I don't know what the deal is.
I love to hear that. I love a kaiju movie. I love just stomping through the cities. I don't care what else is going on, but the fact that they're teaming up, that's great news.
I think they're teaming up, yeah.
But we get a shot of baby King Kong, and it's just so funny. They just made him look like a baby monkey, but like kind of on steroids.
I think
but also not.
I don't think it's Kong. I think it's just a big baby monkey. But same idea.
Stop destroying my vision.
Sorry. What was my option besides King Kong?
Lex Luthor.
I'll go for Lex Luthor on this one.
I will also go for Lex Luthor, but the John Cryer version from Supergirl, the series.
Yeah.
Next one, Bucky Barnes or Bruce Banner?
I feel like the only people who really like Bucky Barnes are like a little too deep into the Marvel fandom. And no hate if you're a Bucky girly. I get it. Sebastian Stan's a hottie. We love to see it. But I feel like once the discourse starts getting into like Steve Bucky / fanfiction, like that's too deep into the corporate metaversal sphere of Marvel for my liking. Whereas Bruce Banner, he's just a guy. He has, he's been around. So I'll pick him.
That's Hulk, right?
Yeah.
Something about Mark Ruffalo as him makes me really uncomfortable. I don't like it. And I know Mark Ruffalo's a good actor, but that just kind of taints it for me, whatever you want to say. So I'll go for Bucky Barnes. I'm really hoping that Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things kind of boosts him up for me.
I hear we see his dong.
Thank God.
I'm thrilled to hear it.
Well, for that reason, I'll take Bruce Banner. Next one, Ronda Rousey or Danny DeVito?
Is that his wife?
No, Ronda Rousey's an MMA fighter.
What's his wife's name?
Ray Perlman.
Ray Perlman.
Yeah. Are they still married? I wonder.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
I'm gonna say Danny DeVito.
Yeah, no contest. It's Danny DeVito on this one.
I'm gonna go Ronda Rousey. Badass woman. One of my friends just gave me her autobiography. So I just Amy Adams or Keira Knightley?
Ooh, damn, two queens pitted against each other. I
knew you'd have trouble with this one.
I'm gonna pick Amy Adams just because I feel like she is always one of those, like, she's like the most snubbed Oscar lady of all time, basically. Like, she's always in stuff that's good, but she's like never quite getting there. And I'm in like the next 5 to 10 years, I hope that she sort of gets like the Meryl evolution where like in her, you know, as she ages, they continue to like revere her and put her in really good stuff, like to the point where like, you know, she is winning Oscars more and like in stuff that's just better. I don't know, because I think she's way too talented to be in some of the shit projects she gets put in.
Who is it that hasn't won an Oscar? It's like Glenn Close or something like that. It's like one of those older actresses, right?
Like she's been nominated, but she hasn't won.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, that was a big thing. This did she win for the fucking
the Marriage Story or whatever?
No.
No, Laura Dern. That was Laura Dern.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. She has, yeah, Glenn Close has never won an Oscar, but she's been nominated a lot.
I think Amy's gonna get the Glenn Close treatment.
Oh, no.
I think it's gonna happen. And you know what? I'm gonna snub her on this one too. Because personally, Keira Knightley has had a greater impact on my life than Amy Adams has. And also I just watched Love Actually for the first time the other day. So I gotta do it.
I'll go with Keira Knightley also. Next one, Pedro Pascal or Lucy Liu?
Oh.
Ooh. Ooh. I'm just going with my gut. I'm gonna say Pedro Pascal.
I'm gonna go for Lucy Liu because she does lesbian portrait painting things. Yeah. Have you never seen them? They're gorgeous.
I love that. No, I have not.
She's a painter herself?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I know, because you hear of actors and actresses who can sing, who can dance, but you hardly ever hear of them like creating works of art like that.
Yeah, Jim Carrey is also a really interesting artist.
That I think I knew. He does cartoons, right?
Kind of. He has a very distinct style.
I will go with Pedro Pascal though, because of Mandalorian. Next one, Chuck E. Cheese or Auntie Annie's pretzels?
Ho ho ho!
I recently got like pretty well versed on the lore of Charles Entertainment Cheese, and I think I know.
Please share.
It's gonna take too long, but basically he's an orphan rat who doesn't know his birthday, and that's why it's someone's birthday every day at Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh,
and Pasquale is like one of the members of the band, and he also owns the pizza restaurant. And it's like Chucky was like down on his luck on the street, and Pasquale took him in. Like, it's a whole thing. I'm surprised no one has made a feature film about Mr. Charles Entertainment Cheese.
They did. It's called what is it? Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah. It's also definitely like a dying franchise, so I'm not sure if that would be a great business investment.
I'm shocked that they haven't filed for bankruptcy yet.
Maybe they have. They might have.
I'm shocked they survived COVID.
I feel like people just bring their kids to Dave & Buster's now, which totally destroys the point of a Dave & Buster's.
Yes. Turns it into Chuck E. Cheese, right?
Yes, they did file for bankruptcy during COVID.
That checks out.
Their parent company, Chapter 11. Chapter 11 takes a long time, though. Like, you can... Forever 21 has been filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy since we were, like, fucking in middle school.
That
like, you can stay kicking under that Chapter 11.
Okay.
Huh. Good to know.
Yeah. I'm gonna choose... what was my other option besides Chuck E. Cheese?
Auntie Annie's pretzels.
Absolutely Auntie Annie's pretzels. Oh my god.
What kind are you going to go, like the cinnamon pretzel with the frosting dipping sauce?
I love the sweet glaze. And maybe I've canonically been more on the like honey mustard side of things.
Honey mustard, yeah.
Cheese is okay, but now that I've got more of a sweet tooth, I might be jumping on the sweet glaze more.
Yeah, I'll go Auntie Annie's also, but I love that big salt that's on a pretzel.
Yeah.
Yes. Next one, Peter Parker or Greta Gerwig?
Oh my god, you're gonna make me look like I hate women and feminism by like pitting my little Twinkie boyfriend against like an actual real life woman. Like Greta Gerwig is a person. Peter Parker is an idea. I'm still gonna pick Peter Parker though. Greta Gerwig can't shoot ropes.
I wouldn't expect anything else, but I'm gonna have to go for Miss Gerwig on this one.
I will also go for Greta Gerwig. Next one, Minnie Mouse or Daisy Duck?
I feel like Daisy's kind of an underrated queen. She's kind of like an icon, and I think that she gets brushed under the rug a lot. So I'm gonna pick her. Her little purple shoes, slay.
I'll go for Daisy on this one.
All right, I'll take Minnie Mouse. Next one, Bath and Body Works, Best Buy, Bed Bath & Beyond.
I got fucked in the ass by Best Buy this year. I'm gonna say fuck Best Buy. If Best Buy wants us to run advertisements, they are gonna have to refund me for tricking me into buying a Geek Squad fucking membership or whatever. I'm sorry, I was so fueled with rage after you said Best Buy, I didn't even hear the third one.
Bed Bath & Beyond.
Speaking
of Chapter 11.
Yeah, BB&B also filed for Chapter 11. BB&B, I also just, like, feel like that's the place you go, like, with your mom when you're moving into your first college apartment to, like, cry over the fact that a trash can costs $200. Like, it's, like, really upsetting. So even though the smell, walking by a Bed Bath & Beyond in the mall, it's like getting assaulted. It's
You mean
like,
Bath and Body Works?
yeah, Bath and Body
Yeah,
Works.
yeah.
Sorry, that's what I mean. It's like
Yeah.
getting assaulted with like tear gas.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what got me through middle school? I certainly did not wear deodorant, but you know what I did wear? A little spritz of the warm brown vanilla sugar
God.
spritzy spray. That's what got me after gym class. The people who had to sit next to me after gym class, they are thankful
See, I
for
was
that Japanese cherry blossom.
Yeah, I was a Japanese cherry blossom girl.
Mhm.
It's tough. This is a really tough one because none of these appeal to me really. I will go for Bed Bath and Beyond though. Just on the principle of Broad City.
Oh, Abby Jacobson, icon and queen.
I'm going to go Bath and Body Works. I liked the raspberry back in the day. That was my go-to. I also like when you can match everything. Your lip gloss matches your shampoo,
That is
which
nice.
matches your lotion and your spritzer. Yeah.
And like if you look at the ingredients, it's all like tar and like it's like stuff that's actively like,
Carcinogens.
working against your body, but they're like, smell it. It's a cupcake. It's $14.
Next one, Peter Pan or Willy Wonka?
Ooh, I would say who is top of mind to me right now, and that's Wonka.
Yeah.
I'm itching for this Wonka movie because I was dead set on hate watching it and going to see it as a sick joke. And people from the first like round of releases are saying that it is phenomenal, that it will be an instant classic. And I am just so shocked to hear that. And the general response is like, why did they make the trailer look like that? That is not a good representation of the film. And I'm like, that is shocking to me. So I'm on the edge of my seat for Wonka.
I mean, I should have known by the fact that it was done by the people that did Paddington, and they wouldn't do us dirty. But yeah, the trailer was really misleading. I think Wonka in itself is iconic through all of its iterations. So I will go for Willy Wonka.
As will I. I'll go for Willy Wonka. I really want to see it too. I wonder, the Wonka Watch girls are probably going crazy. I should listen to them.
I know. We got to circle back.
Yes, shouts out to our friends on the podcast Wonka Watch. We were on as guests a very long time ago, and since then, I'm sure that their podcast has really ramped up as far as reporting on the hot news that is the new Wonka movie.
Last one. Severus Snape or Sansa Stark?
Sansa Stark. Sansa Stark would fucking eat Severus Snape.
Depending on where she is in her timeline.
No matter what.
I don't
He
think
stomps on him. No, just
that's true.
as a concept, she is doing miles while he is giving me inches.
Oh, that's really tough because I just watched, I had like a craving to watch a Harry Potter movie, and I watched Order of the Phoenix the other day. And Snape is a great character, but I will say Sansa. What are you looking at me like that for?
You had a Harry Potter
I
entry
did.
and you watched the worst one?
It's not the worst one. What are you talking about? The worst one is like the Half-Blood Prince. This is the one where it's got the gigantic fight in
like the library, or like with all the balls or whatever.
Yeah, that one.
I guess 5 and 6 mean nothing to me.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I just watched too much of all the other ones. Like, I could not watch Chamber of Secrets again. Not Chamber of Secrets. I did love that one. What's the fourth one?
Goblet of Fire.
Goblet
I was about
of
to say
Fire.
that's the best one.
It is the best one.
I liked
the best one.
Azkaban. I liked the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Third one also good.
Yeah.
That's one of my least favorites.
Really, the werewolf shit that got me.
It's okay. But yeah, like I probably wore down the DVD of Goblet of Fire. So I wanted to see some wizarding action. That's all.
So you're taking Severus Snape. I'll take Sansa Stark, and that was it. And I think this is probably a repeat. I might have done this theme before, but
you know what, Jen? Don't out yourself. We repeat things. I probably told the same story 97 times on this show, so we respect it. We respect all the work you put into coming up with titillating questions, provoking. Did I already say stimulating? I'm really thinking about my opinions and my stances and how I feel just in general. And that's really great. I ran a poll recently and I asked everyone what percentage of people play out loud with us. And I gave them 3 options, like yes, no, or like only when my opinion is strong. And it was like 70 to 80% was a yes, or a resounding yes.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
The no was very slim. And then there was a good chunk, maybe like the other 10 to 20% was only when I have a strong opinion. So
I love
shout
that.
out
Thank
to all
you.
you homies who are just yelling into your car stereo, like, of course Sansa Stark is better. Like I want to have that parasocial relationship with you. So Thank you, Jen, for providing us that. We love you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah, have an awesome night. I love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
I really liked the dad in this movie.
The parents, I loved the depiction of the parents. Something that I this watch around was really keen on was the mom, and sort of how you could tell that the mom was a little bit against sort of this Stepford wife family, perfect white picket fence, nuclear family sort of, because it's the late 80s. There was a lot of that, and she's sort of the foil between her and the gym teacher / dance captain / voice of reason for the Christian community. I fucking forget her name, but she was in Tu Wong Fu. I clocked her from that. Yeah, she just plays one of the people in the town who then gets dragged up.
Nice.
But I was like, what do I know her from? And I was like, oh, yes. But I liked the foil between them, and basically her being a little bit more on the liberal side, right? Of that she's a little bit more open-minded and not really wanting to gear towards these conservative beliefs. Yeah. But yet they do participate and exist within that sort of community. And I thought it was interesting the way that was Maggie Gyllenhaal was really dunking on her dad about politics and what she thought and believed in, and the mom wasn't speaking right, the mom wasn't openly supporting her, but was kind of raising an eyebrow to be she's not wrong, right? Which I feel is the dynamic a lot of the time, where it's you've got the more conservative dad, the more liberal mom, who then raises a liberal daughter, but doesn't openly defy the dad. I think that's so true, and I think they captured it in such a niche way that I thought was really cool.
I just thought they made the parents very well-rounded and realized, you know what I mean? And it's not they had a whole ton of screen time. a handful of minutes, probably. And it's not like they really had any crazy impact on the movie, but I liked that they were able to really convey who they were in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, this movie's under 2 hours, if
Yeah.
that's a selling point
Like
for you to
what,
watch
an
it.
hour
I mean, it's like an
47?
hour 50 something. The director's cut is like 2:15, but that's, you know, only if you want those little extra tidbits. But yeah, the runtime is like an hour 53, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another thing I think I appreciate about this movie is no character or piece of dialogue is done without intent and
Yes.
purpose. And I think everyone we get introduced to has a purpose and serves it. Like even
The poor girl that gets
I
picked
forgot
on.
her. Yeah, right. And we see her doing the dance scene, and she serves the purpose, right, as that it humanizes Donnie. He feels bad for her, and he empathizes with her, and he does stick up for her at one point. And then that scene where he takes off her earmuffs, and he's sort of wearing her earmuffs as he walks through is, you know, I don't want to keep calling him Christ-like because that's like incorrect, but right, he's a man of the people.
Yeah.
He understands the shit that this girl who like is harboring this crush, and he doesn't like make fun of her for it or, you know, join in on the bullying. I love the scene where they're waiting at the bus stop at the very beginning, and it's him and his two asshole friends, and his friend gives him a cigarette. And he's like, "This is really good shit, isn't it?" And Donnie goes, "It's a fucking cigarette."
Yeah.
Like, I like that he's not afraid to like, you know, tell off his friends, like
you're being
like
a
little bit brutally honest. Yeah, and then they start bullying this girl, and he's like, "Hey, what the hell, man?"
Yeah.
Like, he's just a man of the people. That's my Jesus.
That's true. I do really like that he comes off with such an edge, but he is very much morally centered, I guess. So, which is not at all how he comes off to anyone in the town, because they're all a bunch of like right-wing fucks, picket fences, you know.
And then when you do think about all of the like so-called violent things he does, well, I'm not gonna say so-called. They are like actually violent.
Not that violent.
But if you think about the things he does, the consequences are like end up kind of justifying the actions, right? Because he floods the school and he hammers the mascot. Nobody hurts, nobody dies. But then we see how shitty this school is. They fire this teacher for like wanting to make kids independent thinkers. They fire the only teacher who like actually gives a shit, right? And then they're teaching this like weird bullshit, like the fear and the love spectrum. That whole scene is so true of just because they're at a private school, but I think
it's
even
like
in
the
public
gym teacher
education
too.
Oh my god, they always like let the gym teachers like also teach health, and I was like, why are we letting this man who's like a washed up basketball coach teach us how to put a condom on? Like, he's not qualified for that.
I have a friend who has been doing that for the last like year or so, and she's the gym specialist or whatever, and she's sitting there, she's like, I have to teach 6th graders about sexual reproduction. This is crazy.
That was wild. I do remember like the quote unquote like the talk in 6th grade, which like reasonably you should have got that from your parents before them, but they do it in school like one final time just to be sure. I remember the gym teachers doing it, and I remember I was like, we have a health teacher. Like, why wasn't the health teacher doing that? It was whack.
It was crazy. I remember, I don't know if, I think the boys got a talk, but obviously they split you up by gender. I don't know if the boys got like a shorter talk or a talk at all, but I vividly remember all of the girls sitting inside and getting this big long talk, and all of the boys are outside on the playground. Fucked.
Oh my god, that's like from a movie.
Literally.
I remember they split us up, and in the girl section, we watched a video. It was called Just Around the Corner, and it had a little jingle, and it was like, just around the corner of life. And it's stuck in my head ever since. And then it was like, you will get your period, and you need to be hygienic. And then that was it. And then we got snacks, I remember, though, and the boys didn't get snacks.
That's good.
Because they were like, you guys have to talk about something, like, they just have to talk about busting, and you guys have to talk about, like, menstruating. So you guys get ginger ale and saltines.
I remember in high school, our health, we had, like, an actual health teacher by that point, which was great. Our shit was pretty, like, comprehensive, honestly.
I'm going to say, all of the, like, I think about the sex ed that we got, and there are certainly parts of it that, like, make me laugh. And this was even, how long ago were we in high school? Like 7-8 years ago. So I'm sure it might even be better now. But, like, we lived in Massachusetts, which had, like, really one of the most comprehensive state mandated curriculums. Like, baseline, everyone in Massachusetts was at least learning some stuff that was, like, comprehensive and good. So it's wild to think that I, like, have some pretty valid critiques of our system that we got, and that there are kids who get none of that. Like, it's insane to me.
The fact that they didn't just show me how to put a condom on, and I actually learned what a dental dam is, kind of, like, pretty solid.
But so you and I had an actual health teacher do ours. My friend, so there were a few kids, just because our school was so huge that not every kid got their sex ed done by a health teacher. Some got it taught by gym teachers.
My sister had hers taught by a gym teacher, and she ended up getting a C in health.
Oh my god.
It's crazy.
But my friend Rachel thought that a dental dam was for sucking dick until she was roughly 20. Like, I think it was me or someone else who had to, like, made a joke about it, and we were like, no, you are sorely mistaken about what a dental dam is. And she was like, that's what they taught me in health. That's what the gym teacher taught me. Like, literally wild.
Yeah. I mean, for anyone that doesn't know what a dental dam is, it's basically like a thin piece of latex, so you can put it on, like, someone's pussy and go to town. But
yeah, if they have an STI, or you can cut a condom too. We learned that if you cut a condom in half, that is also fine.
Yeah, maybe we should teach a health class.
Yeah, I'm sure that would go great. I'm sure the community would love that we're teaching their kids.
Dude, I mean, it's tough. Like, yeah, anyways. But that, the love versus fear thing is 110% something that I think a lot of curriculums would probably have, because I think I feel like a health class kind of integrated some weird emotional learning aspects of things, and, like, anxiety and depression, obviously, a little bit more. But that is, I would not be shocked if that was something that actually happened, either in the 80s or now.
But, like, all of the violent things he does, you end up kind of being like, good for you, because, like, he burns Patrick Swayze's house down, and then that is what reveals that he is a child porn criminal. Like, everything he ends up doing, right, sort of, then they get theirs, which you're kind of like, okay, well, now I support you, King. Like, of course that was the right thing to do.
Exactly.
Whereas in the first place, it's like, ooh, maybe you should not have left your sleeping girlfriend at the movie theater while you burn that man's house down. But then looking back, it's like, what was the harm?
Yeah, she was okay.
Jenna Malone.
Ugh, love it. I would love to see her in more stuff. I don't know if she's acting presently or what she's done in the past, but I think only this and the Hunger Games are what I can say that I've seen of hers.
Yeah, nothing really comes to mind as much. Maybe she's like, I only do bangers. She's like, sorry, only hits for me.
Probably. Would not shock me. But do we...
Another thing...
Yeah, please.
Oh, just another thing I love about this movie is, like, the viscous, goopy CGI. That's something that itches my brain in a way that just can only be described as, like, early 2000s, like, cinema. It's just that they try to do something in CGI and it just looks like something I want to, like, get out. That looks tactile and interesting to touch to me. I want to gnaw on it.
Yeah, I'd love to, like, travel through it. You know what I mean?
Be surrounded by the goop.
In my goop, unbothered.
In my goop that's traveling my life path towards what my destiny will become. Sorry, my goop doesn't move. It's just keeping me warm.
Just a palpating ball.
Yeah, but let's get into our regularly scheduled programming. I feel like for Fuck, Marry, Kill, do we want to do, like, Drew Barrymore, maybe, like, the science teacher?
I'd say Maggie Gyllenhaal.
She's a child.
Is she in this? She's 18. She said she's voting.
I guess so. I'm not trying to catch a case over
I guess
here.
that's still a child, though. Yeah.
I'm gonna say maybe Drew Barrymore. And then do we want to do like the two parents, or do we want to sub out the dad for like the science teacher, or like the old lady, Grandma Death?
Who are all of our hottest options? I think that's probably our best bet.
I think Drew Barrymore is hot. The mom is pretty hot.
Yeah, the mom is pretty hot.
Grandma Death is kind of doing it for me.
Fuck it. Those three.
I'm gonna marry Grandma Death because she, I think, has comprehension of the universe beyond my physical limitations and capabilities, and she's gonna enlighten me. They also said that she had a dope rock collection.
Oh, nice.
They were like, she was known for having a lot of cool rocks, and the kids would go to her house and see the rocks.
Hell yeah.
And I think that that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty hip these days.
And then I'll kill the mom and I'll fuck Drew Barrymore. She was hot in this movie.
She was hot in this movie. I don't know if I like her vibe though. Her energy in this one. She's okay. I do love when she gets fired and she just steps outside and screams. That really did it for me. I think I'm gonna kill Drew Barrymore though. Just feels right. I'm gonna fuck the mom, and then I'll marry the mom and I'll fuck Grandma Death.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck her to her death. She was frail.
Yeah.
She was on her last legs.
That's okay. Come on.
That's why I'm gonna inherit that dilapidated mansion. Not even a mansion. It was like a shack.
Hey, whatever.
It could be a fixer-upper.
Yeah, absolutely. Inherit the knowledge from her is what you really want.
Inherit the rock collection.
Yeah, truly.
Love me a geode.
I know my parents have like geode bookends. It's very cute. And then out of the whole movie, I'm obviously gonna kill the science teacher. Hate her. Or not that. No.
Oh, you mean the gym teacher?
Sorry, health teacher. I'm gonna fuck the science teacher. And then I'll marry. Who am I gonna marry? Oh my god, this is tough. I'll marry the science teacher, and then I'll fuck Drew Barrymore in this one.
Emily, sometimes I doubt your commitment to sparkle motion. I love that. I'm gonna marry Jenna Malone's mom so that I can protect her from her at-large abusive ex-husband who stabbed her in the chest. Like
crazy.
I'm gonna make sure that witness protection stays on top of that. So I'm gonna marry her. I'm gonna fuck the guy who was golfing, who found Donnie sleeping on the golf course. Not that he was hot, but that I think I could spin something out of that situation.
Always
and
the
then
opportunist.
I'll also kill the fucking gym teacher. She was a cunt.
Yeah, absolutely. And all right, you're having your bitches over. Maybe your males, your all of your toxic male friends, because you have
all my boys. All my boys love Donnie Darko. All my boys love Pulp Fiction. Yeah. All my boys love The Big Lebowski.
What are you eating and drinking with this movie?
So, like, I'm a dumb idiot, and also it's my month, so I'm just gonna say whatever the fuck I want. Absolutely. So these have no relation to this. It's literally just two things that I like.
Good.
So I think you should eat broccoli cheddar soup.
Oh.
I just think that could be nice.
I love that.
Literally, no. I was trying to spin them like, in what way do you eat rabbit? And then I was like, no, fuck that. I'm not going to try to make that work. No. Just eat a broccoli cheddar soup. And then I just learned how to make an amaretto sour like a week ago.
Do you put whiskey in it or just amaretto and lime?
No, just amaretto and lemon juice. Yeah. And a dash of Sprite if I'm feeling crazy, or like soda water or something. So I guess it's not really an amaretto sour, but you know what I mean. That's a
lot of flavor going on between both of those.
It's not really though.
It's not really, but it feels very, very, very much their own.
But it feels right though. It comes to have together comprehensively to
can
kind of
see
taste like a cherry Dr. Pepper a little bit,
I
is
can
what I'm
see
gonna
that.
say.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like a flavored Dr. Pepper girly, an amaretto sour might be for you.
Yeah,
And that's what I think you should eat during this movie. What about you?
So I, for some reason, just think that Donnie Darko would absolutely go to town on a box of original Cheez-Its.
Original?
Original.
I think he's a white cheddar guy.
I think he's original.
Really?
It's also 1988. I don't know if Cheez-Its even existed back then, but certainly not white cheddar.
Couldn't tell you.
I don't know. But
What kind of cheese is your preference?
the white cheddar. 100.
Really? That's out of all the Cheez-Its, that's your number one?
Yeah, I like the white cheddar ones. I like them when they have the ridges. I think those are really good.
You mean the grooves?
Grooves. Yes, thank you. Yes. Apologies to the Cheez-It community for that slip up. I
like the box. I like the box that's half and half Parmesan and Colby Jack.
Oh, that's a really good one. That's a really
It's
good
like the
one.
box that has both, because I like you get just a little bit
Do they
of,
have
and the Parmesan ones are essentially white cheddar. Like they're not that different.
That's a really great box, actually. Oh, I totally forgot about that.
And I love me some extra toasty as well.
Extra toasty's fine. I think he would honestly be an extra toasty guy. So maybe original, maybe extra toasty for Donnie Darko. And then I found a drink with absinthe for this one because it's quote unquote hallucinogenic. And everyone's like, it's Donnie's hallucinations. No, it's not. But it's called A Last Resort. It's got absinthe and pear brandy, which sounds really nice.
Ooh, delightful.
Some lime, simple syrup, an egg white if you're into that, and some bitters. And I really like to balance out something really plain and simple, like a Cheez-It, with a very fancy cocktail like that. So I'm going to serve up my boys that.
Love that. And then what movie are you going to follow this up with? Me, personally, am just picking another film about a troubled youth who speaks up at a school assembly, and that's Lady Bird.
Iconic. Love that. I'm also going to go the A24 alternate dimension route, and I'm going to go Everything Everywhere for this one.
I was also thinking Into the Spider-Verse would be another
also a good call.
interdimensional
Very good call.
And then before we wrap things, what am I going to rate it? I'm going to give it a 9. I love this movie. It's one of my 5 stars on Letterboxd. I don't know if I'd put it in my top 4. I don't have a top 4. I love recently. I'll link it below if any of you are familiar with the repeating cast of this podcast, of the guests that we have on time and time again. One of them happens to be my husband, and he just made a Letterboxd, and he lives by the principle that nothing should exist other than 5 or 0 stars. That it's a pass-fail system. All movies are on a pass-fail. It's not. He's like, what does 3.5 mean? I don't understand that. It's either it was a yes or a no. I'm like, hey, I like that for you. So all of Henry's Letterboxd reviews are either 5. I think the lowest you can give it is 1/2 of a star. I think so. It's either it's a pass fail. So I'll link that below if any of you want to follow.
That's brilliant.
Henry.
I like it. I like that a lot, actually.
Because he's like, what do you mean 3.5? What does that even mean?
It really is hard to quantify. Yeah. I mean, because there's sometimes if I'm feeling like something is a 3.5, and I look back and I'm like, this other thing that I rated a 3.5 is far worse.
It's 3.5 encapsulates so many multitudes, though. 3.5 can mean a movie that I would love. I would say that I love this movie. It's 3.5, or it could be a movie that I'm like,
it was good enough.
It was fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It was all right.
I'm gonna give this movie a 5. Yeah, it was just dead in the middle for me.
Yeah, that's all right.
So
I'll live.
Yeah.
And then I have some questions from some listeners. I asked our bitches on Instagram to send in some questions. So let's rapid fire go through some of these. I love it. Stan.Connor.Stan says, if you had to recast yourself as a main character in a chick flick, which one would you pick? Like, if I want to step into the shoes of a chick flick main character. That's really tough. I guess that's like asking. I'm basing it on who my love interest is, I think.
Chick flick. Oh, this is tough. I don't watch a lot of chick flicks.
Is Superbad a chick flick?
Absolutely not.
No, I'm just kidding. Maybe like About Time.
Yeah.
That I Want to Be the Time Traveler though, and love Rachel McAdams with every fiber of my being.
About Time. When I googled chick flicks, About Time has come up. I'm gonna go ahead and say, Pretty Woman, because I would to be Julia Roberts and getting that Richard Gere dick, and also
for sure.
all of his money.
I would say also maybe like Legally Blonde.
Yeah,
I could see myself as an Elle Woods. Oh no, final answer: Princess Diaries.
Oh, great answer.
Does that count? Even if it's for kids, I think it's a chick flick.
Yeah, that's a chick flick.
Jesse.kaka.111 says, worst movie you've ever seen and why you hate it. The worst movie I've ever seen, Jesse? That's really hard. I think there are movies
let me pull up Letterboxd.
There have been 2 times in my life in which my mom and I have left the theater. They both happened when I was under the age of 12, so I didn't really have cognizant feelings at that point, but Ratatouille, we left, I remember, which is crazy because that movie is superb, but we just like weren't into it. I don't know. And then an animated movie called Everybody's Hero about baseball. It was so bad we left.
Oh God.
I would say like maybe something that just like lives in my mind as being incredibly unmemorable and like that I hated that I had to be in the theater for it, like The Darkest Hour, that fucking Winston Churchill movie, or like The Post, that movie about the Post, just historical dramas that I've had to see for Oscar nominations that I'm just like, ugh, God, enough of that.
You are very lucky you didn't get traumatized by Dumb and Dumber in the way that I did. That was really bad. That was a really bad time. I also fucking hate Promising Young Woman. I think that movie is shit garbage. I think Emerald Fennell needs to atone for her sins for that movie. I think she's fucked for it.
She atoned for her sins by letting me see Barry Keoghan's cock, so I'm gonna forgive her on that one. Saltburn was just okay though, I'll say. But so everyone wants us to be big haters this week. Masked.intro says, worst movie you've covered so far.
Ooh, Dumb and Dumber for me.
Yeah, I was lucky I wasn't there. I will say another one of Joey's picks, Shallow Hal, was pretty bad. Shallow Hal was pretty bad.
Dude.
And then another one, Brochere's Claudia says, your least favorite movie genre. I would say I don't really like rom-coms, and I don't really like, I don't like horror that's like too reliant on visual gore. Like, I like the scariest thing to be more like suspenseful than it is like I'm showing you somebody's entrails.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't like gore. I think it's fucked.
Like, I've never seen the Saw movies, and I don't think I could handle that.
No.
But I don't really care for rom-coms either.
I don't know. This is hard. I don't really have anything that I hate a lot. Noir is like not really, doesn't really appeal to me. I find it slow and boring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say gore is probably, which I don't even know if that like really, would you call that a genre?
I would say it's like a subgenre.
Right now, biopics are really,
agreed. Pissing me off.
Yeah, I'm really done with those.
Masked Intro also asked, how many themes do you plan ahead? That's really funny that you think we plan them ahead. I think the only ones we ever plan ahead is that we always do an actor-based pun for the month of May. So we've done Ewan McGregor, Meryl Streep, Paul Mano. So we always do, but that's like more of a loose idea than an actual plan.
Yeah.
And I think occasionally we've been like in a month that we think of the next one ahead, but it's usually after the last episode of a month. We then think of the theme for the following month. So that's why your suggestions are really important to us, because we really don't pick movies or plan themes very far in advance.
If you've got a theme, please shoot it our way. There is a high likelihood that we will put it into action here. But yeah,
or just movies.
I will shout out you, because you come up with a lot of really great month themes.
I don't ever like actually credit people, but I usually go to Letterboxd and I see what lists people have made, just because those are like generic movie groupings that I can steal the ideas from. So they're not really entirely original.
Yeah.
Any movie you hope you never have to see. Why are everyone supposed to be such haters? I love that they know that we love to hate. Movie we never like that I hope never gets made. I think maybe like who's like a biopic that I would hate to see them disrespect the life of, like,
oh god,
like fucking Jim Henson. Like a bad Jim Henson biopic would like ruin me.
Something I never want to see.
Or like Human Centipede. I will never watch that movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Any Marvel movie. I'm such a hater. I think they're fucking garbage. Yeah, Human Centipede. I don't think I ever need to see The Terrifier.
What's that?
I just know it from The Bald and the Beautiful, and it sounds like one of the most disgusting, gory movies that could possibly be made. Yeah.
Okay. To end the podcast, I think this is a great question. Okay. Brooke Drew asks, we're going to name 10 actors to star in a Knives Out sequel. And we're going to go back and forth, okay? So I'm going to start, and we're just going to go back and forth, and who we name, they're in a Knives Out sequel.
Oh,
I love this.
Shit.
Okay, so I'm gonna kick it off. I'm gonna say Miss Peggy.
Oh my god. Fuck. Why is this so hard right now? I can't name an actor for my life. Angelica Houston.
Name a woman. Name a woman.
Angelica Houston.
I want Steve Irwin's son, who looks just like him.
Love him. I'm obsessed with him. Mia Goth using her real voice.
Ooh, slay. I'm gonna say Beanie Feldstein.
Okay, what are we at? That's 5. Vanessa Kirby, because I'm obsessed with her. Do we have a man yet?
No. I'll say Barry Keoghan. I just saw Saltburn, and he was a delight in that.
Josh Hutcherson.
Whistle baby, let you know. I'm gonna say Sasha Colby, the winner of the most recent season of RuPaul's Drag Race. Nice. She can act.
Iowa Debris.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I think that's
excellent.
Pretty solid.
I think that's the perfect. Io Debris and Miss Peggy in the same movie, beginning to end. We've got. It's going to be a mystery.
Yeah.
I love that for us. Well, Hollywood, if you'd like to credit us, we just gave you the casting of a lifetime.
You're welcome.
And thank you all for listening. This is my month. So you know what I'm asking you for? I've finally come up with something that I think will be a good thing in exchange. If you all can get us to over 300 reviews on Apple Podcasts and boost our rating from 4.8 to 4.9 stars on Spotify. Right now we're sitting at 4.8. Okay, you haters, give me 5 stars. So if we can get over 300 and get back up to a 4.9 on those 2 respective platforms, we will add words to our theme song. I don't know if that's something anyone is asking for, but I think that is the gift I will give back, is that our theme song will have words. If you can, by the end of December, so you have 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So after this, like 3.5 weeks.
Yeah, so this is collectively on both platforms. Get us over 300.
Yes, we have to. Both of those goals have to be met, and I will add words to our theme song if we can get that done. I'm not going to sing them, but I'll write them or something.
Love it.
I'll get somebody who can sing. Yeah, I promise. Part of the gift will be that I won't sing them.
Mm-hmm.
But if we can get those 2 things accomplished for me, for my birthday, for this holiday season, it will be the gift that keeps on giving.
Love it.
And for that, all of that information will be in the description below, as well as a myriad of other things. Click on those links. We love it when you click on the links. And I haven't picked a movie for next week, but just fucking strap in and just wait and see what shit I come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Love you all, and goodbye and good night.